All right, welcome everybody to this amazing topic that so many people deal with, but so many people don't talk about, and that is dealing with the excess skin that we find on our bodies after we've experienced some kind of fat loss. So thank you so much for joining me if you're doing this live, and thank you for those of you that are going to be watching this after the fact. If you have questions, concerns, or whatever, just please reach out to me and I'm happy to answer them one-on-one if you feel shy about talking right now. So just to let you know, I am Jennifer Morris. I am basically, I never know what to call myself because I do so many different things, but ultimately I'm here to help people become their best selves and move from a place of potentially ill health or a place of good health to a place of better, or wherever you are on that continuum. Everything that I'm going to talk to you about tonight and in anything I do, I've always tested and I've always, trialed for myself and researched to the nth degree because that's who I am. And I'm here, really, I exist to help you be your best. So this presentation is specifically about your skin. So let me see, how do I move the slide? That's the first thing. There we go. So just a couple of disclaimers. So I want to let you know that this is not medical advice. I have to say this, please always check with your healthcare provider before starting or discontinuing any medications, supplements, or programs. I'm also an independent Prove It promoter, and I'm an affiliate with a few other companies that are listed there, as well as CrossFit. And as part of our Prove It policies, you can read that statement below. So first of all, congratulations, because if you have lost a ton of fat and you know how hard that can be, I wanted to say congratulations because you've done it. You've done so much of the hard work. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes, tons of sacrifices and consistency. I don't like to think of the word sacrifice as a bad thing in this case because really what we're gaining is our health ultimately. However, those of you that are on here, you might be dealing with this saggy, loose skin that is where your fat used to be, and you've stretched your skin and you have this little problem that no one wants to talk about other than maybe the plastic surgeon who wants to take $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 out of your bank account and do, tummy tuck surgery and all that kind of stuff. So that is what we're trying to avoid. And I just want to say, and this is not to discourage you, but keeping the fat off that you have lost is even harder than losing the fat. And those of you that have gone through yo-yo diets will know this to be the case. And I just want to let you just think about this for a minute. It's the fat gain that caused the loose skin. So if you're watching this and you haven't been through a fat gain and loss adventure in your life, the best thing to avoid loose skin is just don't gain fat. Easier said than done. Losing the excess skin is probably going to be even harder. I hate to tell you, I'm just being realistic. I don't like to BS people at all. It's going to be harder than the fat loss. So sorry. There really is no quick fix to, getting rid of that loose skin except surgery. Which we know is risky and does cost a lot of money. And I really don't encourage it unless it's a really drastic situation. Like we're talking somebody that has lost hundreds upon hundreds of pounds and they're literally carrying around so much excess skin that it's, impeding their life and that they might need to consider some kind. But before you would go that route, and I'm going to explain, I would encourage you to look at some of these options. So the big question is, what do you do? So my question to you is just to think about what you've tried. Just think about, like, have you thought about loose skin? Think about how long have you really tried what you're trying for? Because like everything, this is going to be about consistency over time to get the result that you are looking for. So your skin is absolutely an amazing organ. It is so resilient and quite remarkable. And I mean, I'm sure that you guys can appreciate how resilient it really is. Like some of the stuff that we do to it is quite incredible. But one of the most empowering things for you to know about your skin is that it will regenerate itself completely every 28 days. This is all your cells, okay? So your body will adapt if you do the right things. Like I said, there are no shortcuts and it takes time. It depends on how much fat you have lost, and it really depends on your consistency and your persistence. And my rule of thumb is the 90-10 rule. Some people say the 80-20 rule, but I prefer 90-10 because if you're consistent 90% of the time, it probably is actually going to be more like 80% of the time if we're honest. But if you are consistent with some of the things that I'm going to tell you, or all of the things I'm going to tell you tonight, then you will have results. And that is really the secret to anything. Tightening skin. So there are multiple ways to get rid of excess skin. What I'm going to share with you are the top tips. There are other tips, but if you focus on these things, you will see results, I promise you. Okay, so grab your notepad, grab a pen. If you're watching this after the fact, you can always pause the video, and to my live attendees, you will get the recording of this, so don't worry if you miss something. Okay, these are in no particular order, but the first thing is to master insulin. I'm just gonna move, let me see if I can move you guys because kind of blocking. Let me see if I can get this out of the way. There we go. So insulin is a hormone. It is the fat storage hormone. It's not a bad hormone. We need insulin because otherwise we would die. Our blood sugar would run out of control. People think it's bad, but he's really, you know, insulin's not the bad guy unless you're calling him all the time to come visit you, which you don't want bad guys hanging around forever, right? You want them there sometimes, in this case with insulin. And insulin resistance is the problem. It is the blunting of your cells in your body, their ability to allow insulin to store excess sugar and store it into the cells. What happens is this creates more insulin to be produced, and this becomes a vicious cycle. It's like always, you know, the boy who cried wolf. You're crying for more insulin because your blood sugar is high, and eventually your pancreas stops working. So if you know any diabetics out there, eventually, unfortunately, type 2 diabetes has a medical course of action, and eventually people end up on insulin to control their blood sugars, which is not a good situation. And obviously type 1 diabetics are using insulin to regulate blood sugar, and they're in a different situation. They can actually become type 1, type 2. That's a whole other presentation. But here is the key with insulin. When you have high insulin, you actually deplete amino acids. What are amino acids? Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, which are also the building blocks of your skin. So if you have high insulin, you have no building blocks, i.e. no amino acids, and your loose skin cannot repair itself or regenerate. So maintaining a steady state insulin level is critical. The next hormone that is important to master is cortisol. Again, cortisol is not bad, but it's bad when it's high chronically. It is the stress hormone. You've probably heard about it. You've probably heard of people who have things like adrenal fatigue. You have these poor little adrenal glands that are secreting cortisol, and they do that in response to stress. Now, why do we have cortisol? Cortisol increases to get us out of that stressful situation. And what it does is it drives up blood glucose or blood sugar. And it does that because glucose is an energy source and we need it to survive. And what happens is glucose will actually come out, and, you know, it'll give us that energy. In the past, it would have been to run away from, you know, the saber-toothed tigers or go and like hunt. But today we're sitting in front of our computers and more sedentary, and we get stressed out and we don't get up and move. So our blood sugar goes out of control. Now, what did I just say in the previous slide? When blood sugar goes up, insulin goes up. When insulin goes up, we have no amino acids, we get no skin repair. So what do? You master stress. Easier said than done. I am going to be doing a complete series on stress moving forward, so you can tune into that, but just kind of check yourself. And you know, if you're finding you're shallow breathing, if you find you feel anxious all the time, if you find you have a tension in your shoulders, you're probably stressed and your cortisol is probably chronically high. I'd say that probably 90% of the population has this problem, and it's something that you really need to get under control. Take long walks in the woods, meditate. There's a whole bunch of strategies. Second biggest thing for managing cortisol is sleep. If you are not sleeping, and again, I'm going to do a class because it's like hour at least long topic. There's literally webinars upon webinars dedicated to getting quality sleep. But sleep, if you don't sleep, your cortisol will be high as well. Now, one of the other really great ways to manage cortisol is to do a keto lifestyle or a low carb lifestyle, regulating your diet, because if your cortisol is up, if your glucose is up from cortisol, and then you eat a ton of carbs, guess what? You're making things worse, okay? So you need to watch your carbohydrate intake. Drinking ketones will also help manage your cortisol as well as your insulin. And we know that from tons of research now in this space. The other big thing is high quality fats. I'm going to talk more on this in a moment. Just remember, guys, that keto is not a diet. It is a powerful way to regulate your insulin. And what's really cool is that when you do eat fat, fat does not actually spike your insulin level as much as, say, carbohydrates and potentially protein, depending on your metabolism. It still does increase it, but not as much. And then there's the whole topic of keto, dirty versus clean keto. And this has to do with the type of fats that we are eating when we do a keto lifestyle or a low carb lifestyle. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Now, one of the other big things, and I'm just seeing some participants wanting to get on, but I'm going to have to leave it for now. Sorry, guys. They should have been on time. Anyway, huge, huge, huge thing here, and this is all interconnected, as you can see, is eliminating sugars, especially refined sugars and alcohol. Yes, I'm sorry. Drinking booze is not going to help your cause when it comes to using loose skin. So when I say this, it's really kind of a caveat here is, you know, when you get to the place where you want to be with your skin tone and your body composition, sure, like allow yourself a little bit more freedom when it comes to sugar and alcohol. Okay, but if you want to get there, you're going to have to be stricter with these two components. So again, when we eat sugar and alcohol, not only do we produce inflammation, but we increase our blood sugar, which does all those other things I just talked about. And inflammation, guys, is not a good thing in a chronic way. That is really basically like a systemic, your whole body is just dealing with this, it's fighting this. And when it's fighting inflammation, it just can't regenerate your skin cells, because what's it doing? It's spending all its time and energy fighting the inflammation that you have from the foods that you are eating that cause it, okay? So you literally are what you eat, and your skin is probably more what you eat than any other part of your body, because what did I say? It's every 28 days that it regenerates. So like your skin right now on your body is the skin based on what you ate 28 days ago, right? That is what you're seeing now exuding in your skin, like acne, skin breakouts, all that kind of stuff. That, or the texture and tone of your skin, that is because of what you did 28 days ago. So that is why it's so important to understand that like what your cells are made up of is literally what you've eaten. So if you can understand that, you will be way more likely to eat things that will make your cells healthier and look better and feel better, right? They'll perform better for you. So one of the key things here that is so interesting, there is a reaction, it's called the Maillard reaction. It's a chemistry thing. It's basically like if I brown something, that is the reaction. It's basically when I mix protein and sugars together that I get this reaction. And this actually like will accentuate the aging and the tone of your skin. So like if you're like gonna eat meat, say, don't ever put something sugary on it. So like a good example would be like a pulled pork where there's like a ton of sugar with it, or like my favorite, maple syrup on bacon, right? Those two things together, not a good idea. Have your protein at a different time, and basically you really shouldn't be eating that sugar anyway if skin tightening is your goal. Now, in terms of alcohol, guys, first of all, I hate to tell you this, if you don't realize this already, ethanol is a toxin, okay? There is really no safe amount of alcohol. Do I love a good glass? Love it, but it's not serving you in terms of your health and especially your skin, because it causes more inflammation. Plus there's usually a ton of sugars. If you are going to drink and indulge, and this is really, it should be a rare occasion as opposed to like a consistent thing. I know, don't hate me, I'm sorry. It's really ultimately about your health here. So the worst thing you can drink is beer and mixed drinks and wine that is like a sweet wine or that is not dry farmed or organic. Okay, there's a ton of toxins in most wines, especially, I hate to say it, from California right now. Don't hate me if you love your Californian wines, but choose like an old world European wine from like a dried farm. That means they don't use irrigation. Those wines will be much drier and much less full of toxins. They're much more stringent with the rules and regulations about what is in wine in Europe than they are in North America. And then, you know, obviously support local and find out what they're putting in their wine, right? Because there's a lot of ingredients allowed in wine that are allowed in North America that are not allowed in Europe. Tequila and vodka, and I should have put gin on there, would be your sort of quote unquote safest alcohols when it comes to increasing blood sugar or inflammation. They are the least inflammatory and the least problematic. Just don't mix them with like fruit juice, okay? You just want to have them maybe with some soda water, maybe a bit of lime or lemon, and that would be sort of the quote unquote best option for alcohol. So that's sugars and alcohol. Just try to eliminate them as much as you can. Now, I can't not talk about training and building lean muscle. I mean, it depends how much fat you have lost and how much loose skin you have. Obviously, you're not gonna like fill up your entire, you know, loose skin with muscle because you would probably look ridiculous, and that would not work. So when you build muscle, I don't know why that says it's a typo though, your skin will nothing. I don't know what that means. When you build muscle, your skin will actually thank you. It will not fill out completely, but it will certainly tighten up where it can. And the thing with training, guys, is that a lot of people will mistake training thinking that they have to go to the gym and do all these isolation movements on machines. That's actually like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's really kind of, if I had only like a few hours a week to spend on training, I would do compound movements that are what we call functional or primal movements, where you're using pretty much every single muscle in your body when you do them. And these are considered non-isolation movements: squats, lunges, shoulder press, deadlifts, push-ups, and bench press. And guys, I'm not going to go into, like, again, I'm a fitness coach as well. I'm not going to go into what all of these exercises are and how to do them. I am releasing a video series on this, so you will, if you want to follow that, please do. But please, please, please seek qualified coaching on how to do these movements. I'm a bit biased for CrossFit because CrossFit trainers tend to be militant about making sure that you're doing things with good form and that you don't get hurt and that you progress properly, regardless of your level. People will say, I can't do CrossFit because I'm not fit. The whole point is, guys, you are never going to be able to get to where you want to go until you start. And so CrossFit to me is one of the best places to start, because the coaches there really take care in making sure that you're doing things properly. You do not want to get hurt, because if you get hurt, then you won't be able to do anything, and that really sucks. So seek coaching. Don't just watch, YouTube videos. Have somebody analyze and critique your form to make sure you're doing it right. So I offer that for everybody that works with me. They can send me their videos, and I can, especially now when we don't get to do this live, we can always watch videos and help each other out. So this is going to be controversial, and some people would be like, what? Avoid fish oil? And as I was doing my research and finding out about fish oil, guys, I was kind of shocked when I started diving into this, because I was always a huge fish oil or omega-3 fatty acid proponent. And for years, I was taking tons of fish oil because it's supposed to inhibit inflammation, right? So that's what we've been told. But here's the thing. There's now over 15,000 studies on omega-3 fatty acids from fish that show really poor outcomes and poor consequences. And there's a huge correlation between skin cancer with, I'm just seeing typos in my presentation, so I apologize here. There's a really huge correlation between fish oil and cancer of the skin. Why is that? Because most fish oil that we can get, like probably close to 90% of fish oil on the market, is rancid or oxidized by the time we get it, which means that it's going to cause more inflammation. The other huge thing that I never understood is that fish oil is not stable, because it does go rancid. And when it is going into our stomach, the acid in our stomach actually makes it rancid even more. So again, it's just oxidizing in your skin, in the surface of your skin, and it's causing more inflammation. So this is not going to be a good thing for your skin. Now, there's tons of evidence to suggest that oil, omega-3 fatty acids from plants, is actually not the same. It doesn't decompose or become unstable like omega-3s. And there's some actually really good stuff showing that omega-3 fatty acids from plants, and I will email you guys some information about this if you like at the end of this when I send you the recording. There's a couple of places you can get it from, but it should be omega-3 fatty acids from a vegetable source, okay? And it's like a very pure form. There's different qualities, so you gotta be careful too. And this is good for skin and especially cellulite. I'm just gonna tell you, just personally, I've stopped taking fish oil in the last 6 months since I discovered this. And it's kind of interesting how the skin, especially in my legs, has tightened up. And I don't know if it's coincidence or not. I'll never really know, but it's just sort of interesting now that I know this with fish oil. So back to fats here. Let me just move us again. Oops. Okay, so vegetable oils, guys, and this is where the dirty keto thing comes in, because a lot of people will do keto and just use any kind of fat to up their fat calories and their fat macros. But guys, not all fats are created equal, okay? Vegetable oils, I would say, are probably, like, if you read the research and listen to the people who are talking about this, they're about as toxic as smoking cigarettes. I'm not kidding. They are inflammatory, they are toxic, and the food industry has led us to believe that they are healthy because of the word vegetable, but they are highly processed and highly damaged oils right away from the processing, right when they're in the bottle. And on average, any vegetable oil that you consume will stay within your cell membranes for over 120 days. This is not a good thing, because you want to be able to regenerate those cells, and it's going to take 4 times a skin regeneration to get over the vegetable oil that you've consumed. So the worst one, which is pervasive, it's in everything, it's in all packaged processed foods, is canola oil. Canola oil is cheap. It's used like I don't know, like candy, I suppose. Like it's everywhere. Okay, so you've really got to watch out for this. Read your ingredients. I picked up some bags of sweet potato chips the other day, and I was so disappointed because I was like, they're fried in canola oil, so those are going out the window. I will not be eating those, right? So any packaged, processed, prepared food, that is 90% of them are going to use canola oil. Canola oil is also pervasive in restaurant food. You can actually ask your restaurant, if it's a good one that you're going to, when we get to go out and eat in restaurants again, what kind of oil are you using? Can you fry my whatever in butter? Can you fry my whatever in coconut oil if you have it? Can you not put any oil on my foods, please? Because I guarantee it's canola oil. One of the things that really like upsets me with vegetable oils is companies, food companies are smartening up to this, and they market things like mixed with olive oil together, and they'll say olive oil, it's healthy on the front of the label. But if you look at the ingredients, the primary ingredient is still canola oil because it is so cheap. It's everywhere. Okay, the other oils on there are corn oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, peanut oil. My gosh, like I used to eat so much peanut oil. My mom used to fry everything in it. No wonder I was so messed up. And sunflower oil, there are others, but these are the main ones that you will see in foods that you really want to avoid. Guys, like I'd say probably this is like one of the most important things for your skin, okay? The most. Instead of vegetable oils, what can you use? These are saturated fats. These saturated fats are not unhealthy. We have been misled by the food industry, by big food. Coconut oil, coconuts, avocado oil, olive oil, grass-fed butter. That's butter from a cow that has been fed grass. Okay, it'll say grass-fed on it. Ghee, which is clarified butter. If you can find grass-fed ghee, it's super expensive, but it is super healthy for you. Now, guys, your cell membranes of your skin are made from saturated fat. All your cell membranes are made of saturated fat. So when you eat these fats, you are actually helping your cell membranes, not just your skin, but also your whole body. So important to concentrate on eating high quality fats that our cells are actually made up of. So a couple more things here, and then we'll be done. I don't want to keep you here forever. High quality collagen protein. Collagen is a type of protein that is found in the connective tissue of our bodies. It is actually like the primary protein that is found in our skin, our hair, our nails, as well as our gut wall lining. You can eat collagen if you want to munch on a bone. Nobody does that anymore, but most people get their collagen from a high quality collagen protein powder or from a high quality bone broth, and there are tons of them on the market. This will really help you regenerate your skin. It will help you form tighter, firmer skin. Now, be careful with the kind of collagen protein you buy, because you know, there's tons out there, and people know, marketers know that people are looking for collagen. You want to find a collagen that has all of the collagen peptides. These are different types of protein you will see on a label, contains collagen peptide type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't remember how many there are exactly, but you want it to contain peptides, okay? Now, there are two products from Prove It that have collagen peptides in them. That's the keto cream that we can use in our coffee, tea, or hot water, or use as a snack. And the Better Broth from Prove It also contains high amounts of high quality collagen protein that are in the peptide form that your body can really use for the skin. So that's really something, if you have a lot of loose skin, it's hard to eat too much collagen or too much protein. I suggest, you know, at least 3 full servings of collagen per day for like a good 60, 120 days to really kind of push it into your skin cells, because it will be used in all of the cells of your body, your hair, skin, nails, right? So if you have a lot of loose skin and you have a lot of skin to regenerate, you need to take more. So go easy with it when you first start for the first few weeks if you're taking a pure collagen supplement, because it, depending on your gut, it can cause a bit of stomach upset. So kind of, you know, work your way up to that 3 times a day dosing, and you will notice incredible results from that. You will also notice like your digestion will improve tremendously when you do this. All right, and you will get more out of the food that you actually eat because your digestive system will be healthier. So the last thing I want to talk about, guys, is autophagy. Autophagy basically means eat thyself. It's a Latin word, and it comes from fasting. And I would say that this is probably, out of everything I've talked about, like one of the most powerful things you can start literally immediately. Autophagy is self-eating. It's where your cells are basically, body is super smart. It's not going to go and use the energy when you're fasting from tissue in your body that it needs. It's going to actually like use the energy from things like damaged cells first. And that's why fasting is so, so powerful. And that's why I recommend it literally for everybody, whether you have fat to lose, skin loss, or skin tightening that you want, or you just want to be healthy. Autophagy is one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself. It's your, in a day, you will actually recycle up to 70 billion cells, but only if you fast. If you're constantly eating, you're not going to recycle cells, because what happens is that your body will use the food that you're consuming. I'm not saying stop eating altogether, you need food, but there's ways that you can do this. So what I suggest is intermittent fasting with ketones. And the reason I suggest intermittent fasting with ketones, before you wonder why I suggest this, because a lot of people don't understand this and they will argue that it's not a fast with ketones. This is completely just an uneducated opinion, and uneducated people who don't understand the benefits of having ketones present. The reason we want ketones present while we're fasting is to manage, what did I say right at the beginning? Insulin, blood sugar, and cortisol. We don't want those things to go up. And if you fast and your body's not used to fasting and you're stressed already, you're basically going to compound the problem of stress. This is why it's so, so critical to give yourself the most cleanest energy source that you can use. So this is the protocol I suggest for everybody, not just for people who have skin to tighten up. Every day, so if your week is broken out 7 days, for 4 days, you're going to have a period of 16 hours that you are not going to eat solid food. During that time, you could have your keto cream, your collagen, you could have your ketones, you could have your bone broth or your better broth. That would be cool. So you do not eat solid food for those 16 hours, and you take those things and you drink water, of course, plenty of water. Hydration is key. We didn't even talk about that. And then you have an eating window of 8 hours. And typically that's 2 meals in that 8 hours. Your 2 days a week, what I suggest for people is doing OMAD, which means 1 meal a day. So basically I eat now, and then I do not eat until tomorrow at approximately the same time. So I allow my body to fast for 24 hours. This will really help things move along fast for you if you can do this twice a week. If you can't do 2 times a week, do once a week. Once is better than none. And then on 1 day a week, I just suggest having it like, you know, a free day, not to eat garbage food or processed food. We don't want to undo all the goodness that we've been doing, but just to maybe have, you know, some eggs for breakfast, or pay attention to the days that maybe you wake up and you are really hungry, right? There is a difference between appetite and hunger. So if you do feel hungry and you want to eat, then use that as a day where you actually eat maybe a little bit more. Nothing wrong with that. And it'll let your body, it'll signal to your body that it's okay We're not in stress response mode here. You can eat, everything's good. The last thing with fasting, 1 time a month, you do what is called a block fast. This is an extended fast. The best one I know of is a 60-hour keto reboot. Again, this is not something that you do once, it's something that you do like forever, right? Because you want to maintain what you have, you want to be able to gain health, and you want to be able to keep the journey going with this skin turnover and tightening up your skin. So that 60-hour keto reboot from Prove It is one of the best tools I've ever seen. You get your broth, you get your ketones, you get the Signal OS, which is DNA repair, so that even accentuates the skin tightening. And that is something that is super, super powerful that I highly recommend to everybody to do, especially those that have fat to lose or skin to tighten. We know that there's like a 2,000% increase in human growth hormone, which is going to really help you to feel better and repair the cells and everything in your body. We get that after about 24 hours, and it varies from person to person. So I've talked about why ketones during the fast, but just to review, it really helps enhance and speed up the process. It helps your digestive system. It helps with signaling and the communications between your cells, helps with DNA repair. We know that ketones are probably the greatest not talked about anti-aging tool on the market, and we will lower and control insulin as well as cortisol. So guys, I believe in you. You can do this. If you need help, reach out, follow the tips and stick to it, and you will see the results. If you love this video, then when I send it to you, please feel free to let me know that you're sharing it with somebody. So copy the email, me on the email, there's my email, so that I can provide those people with more valuable information and follow-up information as well to help them with other things that we talked about today, like the sleep, the working out, the stress, and all of those things. It all matters, it's all important, and that's it. So please reach out if you have questions. So I'm gonna stop the recording now, and thank you for participating. Just stop.
Thanks.